Hello everyone, this is CA Prachi Parekh. In today's video, we're going to analyze the provisions of POEM, which is Place of Effective Management in the context of determining residential status of companies. So let us have a look at the provisions in detail, and there are two illustrations which I've taken up towards the end of the presentation. If we look at the provisions pertaining to determination of residential status for corporate assessees as contained in the Income Tax Act, one thing has always been settled that an Indian company, irrespective of the fact where its control and management is, shall always be treated as a resident for the purpose of Income Tax Act. The concept of poem therefore becomes relevant in the context of deciding the residential status for foreign companies. Now, this concept of poem has come into effect from assessment year 1718. Just to give you a brief idea of what the pre-amended provisions were. So prior to the poem coming into the income tax provisions as such, any foreign company was considered to be a resident if its control and management was wholly situated in India. Even if such control and management related activity was conducted partially from outside India, it would be treated as a non-resident. So these kind of criteria for determining the residential status gave rise to a lot of shell companies which would evade the residential status tag by conducting isolated events directing at control and management being located outside India. And to sort of counter all these difficulties, the concept of poem had been brought into the statute. Let us understand it in further detail. Now, what exactly is the concept of poem or place of effective management? It is found its root in the OECD guidelines as such, and that is from where we borrow this particular concept. Now, place of effective management typically means any place where the key management and commercial decisions that are necessary for the conduct of the business of the entity as a whole in substance are made. So again, it kind of hints at the same aspect as to where the control and management of an entity is located. However, they use a different set of terminologies here wherein they say that a place where the key management and commercial decisions which are necessary for the conduct of the business are made in substance. Also, this poem is an internationally recognized test for determination of residence of a company which is incorporated in a foreign jurisdiction. In most of the double tax avoidance agreements, or the treaties as we call them, the concept of poem has been recognized as a tiebreaker rule. One thing we should always remember here, it is a concept of substance over form. So irrespective of the manner in which a particular transaction gets executed, we are more going to be concerned about the substance behind that particular transaction and not the form in which it was per se executed. Also, as is the case with most of the concepts in the international taxation domain, poem is no exception. It is highly subjective. It could be different for a different set of facts and circumstances, and there can be no single thumb rule which can, for sure say that yes, in these given set of in the case of these conditions being fulfilled, the poem of a particular company would be located in this place or that place. So it's going to be highly subjective, and every case has to be examined with a very detailed understanding of the issue. Moving further, can an entity have more than one place of effective management? So the answer here is no. Because we are saying that the place of effective management is that place where all the key managerial decisions which are relevant for conduct of my day-to-day business activities are taken. So going by that logic, it cannot be envisaged that an entity has more than one place of effective management. Just to extend the question further, can an entity have more than one place of management? Now, my answer here would be yes. So, there could be some delegation of authority or delegation in respect of certain execution of transactions which is to be carried out that can be passed on from the place of effective management to another place which is managing that particular event or transaction. So it is possible that an entity has more than one place of management from where its day-to-day activities are governed and ensured that they are executed in a proper manner. But it will have only one place of effective management where all the key managerial decisions are taken. Just as is the case with residential status, which we determine on an year-to-year basis, every year we are going to determine POEM as well. So the place of effective management in the context of those corporates for whom we are required to do this is an exercise which would be done on an year-to-year basis. Now, the CBDT had come out with a circular in 2017, which gave us certain guidelines as to what would be the factors or the criterion to be adopted in determining POEM in respect of certain corporates, right? That is typically foreign companies. So that particular circular also gave out a criteria called as the active business outside India test, or the ABOI test as we call it. So all the parameters for determining whether the company has ABOI or not, etc., are discussed in the coming slides. Now, a company will be said to have active business outside India if it fulfills, or if it passes, so as to say, the ABOI test. So any foreign company which is fulfilling this following criteria, which I'm just going to deliberate upon, will be stated to have its active business outside India. Now, to determine whether POEM is in India or not, the first kind of step is whether to determine whether the entity has ABOI or it does not pass the ABOI test. So let us have a look at the parameters. I'm going to discuss them in brief at this particular juncture. The meaning of the terms which have been used in these parameters are elaborately covered in the CBDT circular as well as the ICAI study material. For anybody who wishes to get into more depth, you can go and refer to that. It is not possible to cover so much in the span of a short video. So the first criteria is the passive income of this particular company is not more than 50% of its total income. Less than 50% of its total assets are situated in India. Less than 50% of the total number of employees are situated in India or are resident in India. And the payroll expenses which are incurred on such employees is less than 50% of its total payroll expenditure. So if any company fulfills these four parameters, we can say that it is engaged in active business outside India. I would just like to bring to your notice the last two conditions. So the first two are pretty much manageable. It has a straightforward comparison with 50% of the passive income and 50% of the total assets being situated in India. The third condition says that less than 50% of its total employees are situated in India or are resident in India. And the last condition says that the payroll expenditure which is incurred for such employees is less than 50% of its total payroll expenditure. So these two conditions, if we look at them cumulatively, they have a very important aspect coming out of it. I might have less than 50% of my employees situated in India, but they would be the main employees like the MD or the CEO who would be drawing remuneration which could be more than 50% of the aggregate expenditure on payroll. So this a reading of these two conditions together ensures that not just your count or the quantity of employees in India who are resident in India or located in India should be less than 50% of your total employee strength. Along with that, the emoluments or the salary or the payouts for these employees should also be less than the 50% criteria of the total payroll expenditure. So the major or the key managerial personnel are going to be located outside India, or if they are located in India, the amount spent on them is going to be less than 50% of the total payroll expenditure. So it is quite obvious out of these two conditions that the major or the main employees would be located outside India. So these are the parameters which a company needs to fulfill in order to say that it is having active business outside India. Going further with the criteria. So moving further with the criteria of discussing whether a company's poem falls in a particular jurisdiction or not, this is a tabulated version or a chart form structure which I have picked up in this slide. It's picked up from our study material as such. And if you look at it, it says that the determination of poem is based on the categorization of these companies. So first, if you fulfill the ABOI test, then what happens? So let us say a company is having active business outside India. Then in most normal circumstances, I would say that the poem of such company is located outside India if majority of the meetings of the board of directors are conducted at a place which is outside India. So in 99% of the cases, this is going to be the scenario wherein my company has active business outside India. The board of directors are located outside India, or majority of them are located outside India, and all their meetings are held outside India, wherein the key managerial decisions regarding the day-to-day functioning of the company are made. Just to deviate a bit from this normal situation, and we say that the board of directors typically don't have any control as such, and the de facto decision making authority is not the board of directors but an Indian parent or a resident. In those circumstances, for companies fulfilling the ABOI test as well, I would say that the poem is located in India. So this was the case for companies who would fulfill the ABOI test. Now looking at those companies which are not fulfilling the ABOI test, or those companies which are not engaged in active business outside India. Here, determination of poem would be done in two stages. The first stage is identification of persons who actually make the key management and commercial decisions for conduct of the company's business as a whole. And stage two is determination of place where these decisions are in fact made. So first I identify who is responsible for taking these important decisions. And secondly, I identify the place where these particular decisions are made. Based on these two-stage criteria, I would then determine the poem in respect of those companies who are not engaged in active business outside India. Now, for determining the ABOI fulfillment or the parameters which are taken up in the ABOI test, the average of the data of the previous year and the preceding 2 years will be taken into account. If the entity has existed for a shorter period, such shorter period will be considered. There could also be a scenario wherein the accounting year in the country of incorporation is different from the previous year which is adopted for taxation purposes. So for example, in India, we follow the April to March previous year cycle. Suppose the company is incorporated in X country wherein they follow the calendar year cycle. Then how do we pick up the data, that is the total assets or the passive income or the payroll expenditure, etc. So for these cases, the data for the accounting period that end during the relevant previous year and 2 accounting years preceding it will be considered. So you have to take your data for that particular year which ends in your particular relevant previous year. Going further, for companies which are not engaged in active business outside India, like I said, stage one, the stage two said that where these decisions are taken, the determination of place where these decisions are taken would be relevant. So here, that is what I have just again put up. Place where the management decisions are taken would be more important than the place where such decisions are implemented. So if you remember, when I began my discussion on poem, I said that this is one concept wherein substance has more precedence or importance over the form of the transaction. So that is very evident from this particular logic which is put out here for companies who do not fulfill the ABOI test. So the place where these decisions are taken would be more important rather than the place where these decisions are implemented. So there could be certain decisions which are taken from India, but they are implemented outside India. In that case, the fact that those decisions were taken from India would be more important in governing the poem of that particular foreign company. which is not fulfilling the ABOI test. So these are few other guiding principles which have been given out by the CBDT circular. So I would just quickly read through them, and we have a detailed discussion on each of these in our study material. It is also there on various materials which you can find out online, maybe some articles from OECD, etc. So you can look it up. All these parameters or all these principles hint that you have to take a sort of holistic decision as to where the place of effective management of a particular foreign company is located, rather than just looking at transaction in isolation. So the first case is location where the board of directors meet and take decisions. Location of the executive committee in case where powers are delegated by the board. Location of the head office, use of modern technology, very important because these days most of the things can take place through video conferencing or through virtual meetings. So that will also play a very important role as to where exactly the decisions are being taken and where exactly they are implemented. Decision via circular resolution or round robin voting. Decision which are made by shareholders are not relevant in the determination of POEM, and day-to-day operational decisions are again not relevant for the determination of POEM. So these are guiding principles to enable us to decide the POEM in a particular, in the case of a particular foreign company for a particular previous year. A very important thing which all of us should note here is that POEM guidelines are not applicable to a company having turnover or gross receipts less than 50 crores or 50 crores in a financial year. So I believe my camera location has hit the amount which is there. So we are taking up an illustration on this so that time it would be clear. Just for the sake of emphasis, I would again state the guidelines for POEM are not applicable to a company which has a turnover or a gross receipts of an amount of INR 50 crores or less in a financial year. Coming to some practical aspects related to this concept. Now, if there is a scenario wherein the assessing officer proposes to hold a foreign company as resident on the basis of POEM guidelines, then first of all, this finding shall be given after seeking approval from a collegium of 3 members consisting of principal CITs or CITs, and an opportunity of being heard would be given to the foreign company before issuing any directions in this matter. So merely the AO of his own accord cannot go and decide the residential status of a foreign company as resident by applying the guidelines of POEM. There is this step which has been kept as such that he has to get an approval from a 3 member collegium which will consist of CITs or principal CITs. Going further, let us look at two. Like I said at the beginning, we are going to cover two small illustrations here. So this is the first one. ANZ Limited is incorporated in Singapore. It has 15 shareholders. 10 are Indian citizens and resident in India. The company has no active business in Singapore. The gross annual turnover of the company for the previous year 1920 is INR 48 crores, mainly from operations in Korea, China, and India. The company is managed by a team of professionals from India. Find out residential status of ANZ Limited for the assessment year 2021. Just like I said 2 slides before, all these guidelines and all these complicated aspects relating to POEM are applicable only if the turnover or the gross receipts of that particular company in a financial year are 50 crores or less. So in this particular case, the gross turnover of the company is stated to be 48 crores, which is less than 50 crores. And it is a foreign company because it's incorporated in Singapore. So we would not be applying any of the POEM related criteria or guidelines. And based on our simple understanding of section 6.3, we would be stating that it is a non-resident in India for the assessment year 2021. No complexities involved if the turnover does not cross the threshold of 50 crores. Moving on to the next illustration. Let us look at the second illustration. An Indian multinational group has a local holding company, P Limited, in Japan. P Limited also has 100% downstream subsidiaries, R Limited and S Limited, in Hong Kong and T Limited in Cyprus. P Limited has income only by way of dividend and interest from investments made in subsidiaries. The poem of P Limited is in India and is exercised by ultimate parent company of the group. R, S and T Limited are engaged in active business outside India. The meetings of board of directors of these companies, that is R Limited, S Limited and T Limited, are held in Hong Kong and Cyprus. Find out the residential status of R Limited, S Limited and T Limited. Now in this case, P Limited, they have mentioned that the poem of P Limited is in India and it is an intermediate holding company, correct? Just because P Limited has its poem located in India, it cannot be said that the poem of subsidiaries will also be in India. Each subsidiary will be examined separately. Now, in this particular illustration, it is stated that all the subsidiaries fulfill the ABOI test. And because they fulfill the ABOI test, the next factor which we're going to look at is where are the meetings of the board of directors held. So in this case, we are given information that the board of directors are conducting their meetings outside India in their respective countries of Hong Kong and Cyprus. Because of all these facts taken together, the poem for these three downstream subsidiaries of P Limited will be located outside India. So these were the two illustrations which I have here. So this is just dedicated video on the concept of poem along with the illustrations and the ABOI test, etc. I have not clarified the terms used in the ABOI test. You can all look them up in the study material. If there are any queries whatsoever, you can get in touch with me on my email address, which is caprachiparekh@gmail.com. You can also subscribe to my channel, which is CA Prachi Parekh on YouTube. I would be posting short videos relating to non-resident taxation on this channel in a phased out manner, which would be relevant for assessment year 2021. Thank you everyone. Keep watching.